I've been tagged a few times in a viral TikTok about fake honey in the Philippines and around the world, especially after that YouTube video by Erwan Yusuf. I was actually planning to talk about this after honey season, but since it's a hot topic right now, I'm going to make this video. First of all, I agree with everything in that YouTube video by Erwan Yusuf. Most honey sold online or supermarkets is either fake or adulterated. And sadly, even honey from backyard beekeepers like me is not guaranteed pure unless it goes through a proper lab test. That's the only way to truly know if honey is real. So I want to take this chance to quickly clarify all those methods you've seen online, sa Facebook, mga sabi-sabi. Those are all wrong. So I'll give a few examples. The fire test, you use fire to test if the honey is pure. That doesn't prove anything. Another one is the water plus shake test. Some say if it forms a comb-like pattern, it's real. That's also wrong because even corn syrup can do that. Another one is if it has strong fruit flavors. Just because you taste calamansi or other strong floral notes doesn't automatically mean it's pure. That can be added artificially, like pipigaan ng calamansi juice. And also, a very common argument is real honey does not crystallize. That's very false. I'm going to talk about this one more thoroughly. Honey is mostly made up of two types of sugar, that's glucose and fructose. Glucose doesn't dissolve in liquid as easily as fructose. So over time, especially when it's cold or nilagay sa fridge, it has a tendency to crystallize. Now, some people refrigerate honey to avoid ants or even to see if it's real. But there's no need to refrigerate honey. And doing so actually makes it crystallize faster because of the cold. In fact, I've harvested some batches that did not crystallize at all even though I placed them in the fridge, and there are some that did. For example, last year, I harvested some honey a bit too early. Yes, there's a proper time when to harvest, and I knew that batch had too much moisture. So it fermented faster and crystallized in the fridge. But that doesn't mean it was fake. It just wasn't fully matured yet. So remember, crystallized honey does not mean fake honey. Mature, properly harvested honey might crystallize slowly or not at all, depending on storage and composition. But if it does crystallize, that can actually be a good sign that your honey is raw and unprocessed. Another thing they usually say is ants don't eat pure honey. I mean, honestly, ants eat almost anything. Kumakain nga sila ng itlog na hindi naman yan matamis. So, whether it's pure honey or sugar syrup, they'll just take it. So, this test really doesn't prove anything either. So, our next question is, how do you know if what you're buying is pure honey? Unfortunately, the only way to know for sure is through lab testing, which can take up to 2 weeks to process and can be pretty expensive. This is a global issue that affects honey everywhere, not just here in the Philippines. So your next best bet is to find a reliable honey supplier or beekeeper. And I want to emphasize reliable because there are still a lot of beekeepers who adulterate honey. And I keep mentioning adulterated honey, so let me quickly explain how that happens. Aside from simply adding corn syrup, some beekeepers keep feeding sugar water to their own bees. So instead na kumukuha yung mga bees sa flowers ng nectar tapos pinaprocess na maging honey, they'll just take the sugar water and then make that into honey. So you're getting honey made from sugar instead of nectar. Now, honestly, this isn't always done on purpose, especially in Western countries, because I've heard they're not allowed to hurt the bees or shoo the bees. So if a bee lands on sweets in a bakery or goes somewhere where sugar is openly being fed to them, of course that sugar will make its way back to the hive. So I can't 100% guarantee that the honey I harvest is pure, 100% pure, because I can't trace every single flower or food source the bees visit. That's why I want to quickly address the issue of open feeding sugar water, especially before honey flow starts. Open feeding should be stopped during this time because it can cause problems like this. Sure, you can feed bees during rainy seasons or winters in colder countries when there's not enough food, but really the best way to help bees is to plant more flowers and trees. Now, I have a small apiary, like 8 colonies, and I don't produce so much honey. Last year, I've only gotten 80 kilograms. So I can confidently say I do not sugar feed my colonies just to sell more honey. I only feed them sugar during the slow months like palaging umuulan, walang food, and I stop around a month before the honey flow begins. Honestly, I'm too lazy to keep feeding them for that purpose, and I didn't get into beekeeping for honey production. I was more interested in studying their behavior. Plus, I don't want to cheat my own family. Why would I supply fake honey to them, right? So, if you're wondering what signs could help you at least identify potentially fake honey without having to rely on those tests, DIY tests, then there are a few questions you could ask the beekeeper or supplier. Start by asking what type of bee they are handling. You can see my other video that differentiates the 4 bee types here in the Philippines and see how much honey they can produce. Next is you ask how many colonies they have. For mellifera bees, which that's what I'm handling, one strong colony can produce 15 to 30 kilograms per season here in the Philippines. Next is you ask them their location and what the forage area is. Baka naman kasi yung location nila is sa may palayan. Wala namang makukuha ang bees dyan. Lastly, ask when the honey was harvested. If they say they harvested during rainy season, then it's an obvious red flag. Honey flow in the Philippines is during summer and a short one at around October to November. The numbers can differ, but if it's significantly different, then it's a good reason to doubt the honey's authenticity. But then again, this is no way to truly know if the honey sold is pure. This is a very huge topic and definitely controversial. I'd like to make a follow-up video about this and how some people adulterate honey, the difference between pure and raw honey, and even the whole honey hunter thing. But I hope this video has given you some solid insights for now. And I'm about to harvest soon, so make sure to subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!